During the Vietnam War, the United States deployed specialized aircraft engineered to dominate the sky and rain destruction from high altitude. Massive platforms like the B-52 Stratofortress could deliver devastating strings of bombs across vast swaths of territory. Meanwhile, the F-4 Phantom II was built to act as a premier radar-guided interceptor, utilizing beyond visual range missiles to hunt down enemy fighters. And the A-6 Intruder operated as an advanced all-weather precision strike platform, carrying massive payloads to hit ground targets in the dead of night. But looking down from 30,000 feet, these pilots saw an unbroken ocean of green. Down on the ground, the reality of the war was dictated by a dense, multi-layered jungle canopy that completely blocked out the sky. Total air supremacy and complex avionics offered zero protection to an infantry platoon pinned down in the brush. A supersonic fighter jet couldn't extract a wounded soldier through a 100-foot wall of mahogany trees. The physical answer to that ground-level trap sits today in the Great Gallery at the Museum of Flight, a Bell UH-1H Iroquois, registration 6915140. Bell Helicopter delivered this specific airframe to the U.S. Army in March 1970. It spent the next 2 years logging approximately 1,400 combat hours, flying with the 101st Air Cavalry and the 158th Assault Helicopter Battalion, B Company. Registration 6915140 survived 1,400 hours in the same hostile environment that forced the military to rewrite how it moved human beings across a battlefield. That tactical rewrite started in Korea, where the Army first experimented with aeromedical evacuation using the Bell H-13 Sioux. The H-13 saved thousands of lives, but its design was severely limited. Patients were strapped to metal litters entirely outside the aircraft, exposed to the slipstream and freezing winter weather. The helicopter's weak battery even forced pilots to perform dangerous hot refueling in the field, gassing up while the engine was still running, just to avoid getting stranded. By the early 1960s, Bell introduced a massive leap forward with the models 204 and 205, the Huey. Powered by a gas turbine engine, it featured an enclosed cabin large enough to carry a crew of 4 and multiple patients inside. This enclosed capacity enabled vertical envelopment. Commanders could now bypass the jungle entirely, dropping troops directly into tight, isolated clearings instead of marching for days through hostile terrain. And the moment those clearings became contested, medical units operating under the radio call sign Dustoff used that exact same mobility to swoop in and extract casualties in minutes. In Vietnam, the helicopter transitioned from a delicate, limited-use ambulance into the primary engine of frontline military logistics and survival. But operating in Vietnam came with steep environmental penalties. Early Huey variants, like the A, B, and D models, frequently lacked the engine power to sustain a heavy hover in the intense heat of the Central Highlands. The mechanical fix arrived with the definitive H model, the most produced variant of the war. Its secret was the Lycoming T53L13 gas turbine engine. This chart shows the stark difference in maximum hover load capacity between the two variants. The older D model's L11 engine struggled to lift heavy payloads in the heat, but the H model's new L13 engine delivered 27% more horsepower. That extra thrust allowed it to safely hover with over 1,000 pounds of payload, easily clearing the 600-pound threshold required to operate a heavy personnel rescue hoist. With that raw lifting power, crews could now hover steadily above the trees and winch down a collapsible seat called a forest penetrator to extract soldiers from jungles too dense to land in. In thin mountain air, that 27% horsepower increase was the margin of survival. It gave pilots the mechanical muscle required to hold the aircraft perfectly still while a wounded soldier was pulled 250 feet up into the sky. Registration 6915140 survived its combat tours, rotating back to the United States in March 1972. It traded the tropical heat of Southeast Asia for the deep freeze of the Arctic, flying missions for the Alaska National Guard until 1994. For its final active duty chapter, it operated as a search and rescue unit for the King County Sheriff's Office in Washington State, before finally being donated to the Museum of Flight in 2003. For 3 decades after the war, this specific airframe relied on its powerful hoists and rugged engineering to pull lost civilians out of treacherous, inaccessible terrain, directly mirroring the role it was built for. In 2011, Northwest Helicopters began an extensive 2-year restoration of the aircraft. The process functioned like historical archaeology. Technicians carefully scraped away layers of bright civilian paint schemes and removed police radios to uncover the olive-drab military primer beneath. The objective was to return this 57-foot machine to the precise configuration it held while flying combat missions with the 158th Assault Helicopter Battalion. The Huey shifted the odds for the individual soldier. For the first time, an infantryman wounded in an inaccessible jungle clearing could expect a dedicated crew with a specialized hoist to reach them in minutes. Preserving registration 6915140 keeps that history tangible. It stands as a physical record of the machine itself and the raw courage of the dust-off crews who flew it.